one night I came into the Toastmaster meeting and I had purchased and gave it to him a neck brace so that he would.
You're kidding.
He's not kidding. He's not kidding.
Just as kind of a moral support to encourage him, like, look up. We need to be able to have that eye contact if we're going to connect with you the way that we should.
Welcome to Speak Arizona, the podcast for professionals ready to elevate their communication and leadership skills. Whether you're speaking to a crowd or leading a team, you'll get practical tips, expert insights, and inspiring stories. Join us as we dive into the craft of powerful communication and authentic leadership. Speak Arizona is powered by District 3 Toastmasters. Subscribe and take the next step to becoming the speaker and leader you want to be.
Welcome to Speak Arizona, a podcast dedicated to empowering you to find your voice. Hi, I'm your host, Rupesh Parbhoo. I help technical experts upgrade from being the smartest person in the room to the most influential, one conversation at a time. Sometimes the most life-changing words are not spoken on the stage. They're spoken quietly, person to person, when someone looks at you and sees something that you cannot yet see in yourself. Matthew Malan knows what it looks like to feel and lose trust in your own voice. After years of bullying, a stutter, and more than a decade of speech therapy, there was a time when speaking did not feel empowering. It felt painful. His voice, like so many people's, became tangled up with fear and shame. And when that happens, it's not just public speaking that suffers, it's something much deeper. You begin to worry if your voice is safe, if it's welcome, if you matter. But this story is not about Matthew, it's about mentorship. Don, his mentor, did more than just coach Matthew on speeches. He believed in him when his own belief was fragile. He kept showing up, he kept encouraging, and he kept reminding Matthew that there was already something good and powerful inside him. Today's conversation is about that relationship and about what a mentor sees and about what happens and what it means to be coached with both honesty and heart. Today's conversation is about that relationship, about what a mentor sees, about what it means to be coached with both honesty and heart, and about how one person's belief can help another find the courage to believe again. Don, Matt, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
It's great to be here.
Matt, I'm excited to have you back today to just
Round two.
Yeah.
Back at it.
Good to have you back. But Don, it's your time, first time here.
It is.
Can you tell us your story? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a Toastmaster since 2010, and I came to Toastmasters because I grew up with a limiting belief that I couldn't speak. That limiting belief came about when I was in the third grade, 8 years old, and I was called on to do an oral book report at the front of the room. And when I got to the front of the room, my brain froze. I couldn't remember a single thing that I wanted to say, and my classmates started laughing at me. And from that experience, I developed a limiting belief that there must be something wrong with me. And I had a situation where quite often my words would come out of my mouth in an order other than I intended. And it was embarrassing. And for a good part of my life, I didn't speak very much. And when I was called on in 2010 to become a best man and do a best man's toast, I didn't have the confidence that I believed was necessary to say all the things that I wanted to say about this wonderful man. And so I made a decision that I was going to write out my speech, and when it came time, I was going to read it. And it was an outdoor reception. The wind came along, blew my notes in half.
Oh, no.
And I had to stop and start over 3 times. And I was so embarrassed. I was humiliated. And I made a commitment to myself. I said I was never going to let that happen again. And 3 weeks later, I joined Unity Speakers Toastmasters Club because I was ready to face my greatest fear. And public speaking was my greatest fear.
There's so many stories like that where you have this moment of failure and it inspires you to join Toastmasters. And I hope our listeners are encouraged before that moment, but it's such a common moment. Public speaking is, you put yourself out there, you're vulnerable, all eyes are on you, and you have to be courageous, and sometimes it doesn't work out. But that's how you found Toastmasters. Matt, give us your
Little background.
A
let's
little
see.
background.
So lifelong stutter, like bad. Like I couldn't talk at all. Went mute for 2 years. Didn't say any words during that. And I found Toastmasters. I tried it, and then I would leave, come back, leave it like 5 times. But finally, I stuck onto it, and I met Don, and he changed my life. But it was hard because it's very scary to get on stage when you think I might stutter and people are gonna laugh at me. But I just thought we're gonna try this, keep on going, and here we are.
You've had a full transformation, and
But you've watched it too from your point of view and his point of view.
yes, and our listeners. So if you want to hear more about Matt's story, I'll put the links in the show notes. And it's an amazing, inspiring story. But today I wanted to talk more about mentorship and the relationship and just this, and the theme of service. Actually, Matt, you brought that up in your last speech of public speaking became a service. So maybe we'll get into that. But the first question I have is for both of you, maybe Don, you start. How did you all meet?
Well, I first met Matt at Maverick Toastmasters. He came in and he just had a presence about him. And right off the bat, I remember he just was willing to jump in at opportunities. And he did struggle with his speaking. And one of the things I love to talk about is one of the things that about Matt, as he started speaking more and more, and he took every opportunity he could not look at the audience. He had to look down at the floor. And as we encouraged him to look up and make eye contact, which would improve his speaking in connection with his audience, he still looked down at the floor. And so one night I came into the Toastmaster meeting and I had purchased and gave it to him a neck brace so that he would.
You're kidding.
He's not kidding. He's not kidding.
Just as kind of a moral support to encourage him, like, look up. We need to be able to have that eye contact if we're going to connect with you the way that we should.
Oh, Matt, okay, how long ago was that?
I don't know.
It wasn't that long ago.
It was not that long. It's been maybe 5 months.
5 months. Do you still have the neck brace?
I do. I didn't ever use it because who wants to wear a neck brace during a speech or improv, so didn't wear it.
Matt, can you tell us from your perspective how you met Don? What was that like for you?
Don was the confident, relaxed guy. He'd get on stage and it was like, he's very calming. And when I get up there, it was like jumping up and down. It was nerves. It was very crazy. And he had like a speech about contests. And that was what really hooked me onto Don, because he talked about the contest, competing. And I was still brand new to all of this. So I think I called Don that night. Didn't even know him really. But we walked into like the tall tales, the contest, how it all works. And
I want to rewind even before that, because you mentioned to me, and this you mentioned to me months ago, that when you first joined Toastmasters, there was this guy emailing you constantly to show up. Can you tell me a little bit about that part of the story?
So that was both Paul and Don. But Don's main thing is that he cared. Like if I didn't show up or if I did show up, he cared. Because at first when I came to Toastmasters, I was very quiet. I would show up, say like 2 words and then leave. Because my thought was if you talk, people then know you. And then you have more stage time. I didn't want that. I was very quiet, but Don was always very friendly to me and talking. So it all came from that point.
Don, what did you see in Matt when you started to just build this relationship and buy the neck brace, or maybe even before that? You should have brought the neck brace today. We could have put it on the table.
Right, on camera, right?
Yeah.
So I see in pure 4K.
Exactly.
Make him good.
So what I saw in Matthew was a person that was driven. He had a fire in his belly unlike anyone I have ever encountered before. And he was just willing to do whatever it took to get where he wanted to go. And that just really impressed me. And I just couldn't not take part in it. One of the things that one of my mentors early on encouraged me to do when I didn't have any confidence in myself, his name was David Hodish. He just won the division contest and will be participating at the district competition here shortly. David encouraged me to take part in speech competitions. And I didn't believe in myself, and I just couldn't imagine myself, this person who was so lacking in confidence, unable to speak, to be able to participate in a competition. But he was relentless, and month after month, year after year, he cajoled me until I finally said yes. And it took a while to be able to gain that confidence and develop the speech that I eventually gave. but I was able to win against some incredible speakers in our club contest, one at the area contest, one at the division contest, and had the opportunity in 2013 to speak on the district stage against 8 of the best speakers in the state of Arizona. And that was such a path for me. And I wanted to be able to share that same experience with Matthew, that, you know, competition is where you're going to be able to develop your confidence and competence as a speaker. So I encouraged him to do so. He wasn't even, it was unlikely that he would even be able to qualify for the international.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Because he had a lot to be able to do, before he could get there. But he was relentless. He did, and he was able to compete, win the club, the area, and almost the division.
We were close. From
Very
my
close.
point of view, though, it was kind of scary because I went from joining this new group to the contest because of him. I wasn't going to do it, but he was like, "You have to do it. You have to do it," and we did it. Because contests are a new beast to try and face speech-wise. They're very scary, in my opinion.
Your transformation, Matt, that we are somewhat documenting and chronicling on this podcast, which I really love. But I want to get back to what you said, Don, and we'll get back to this in the podcast. But what you just described is this like generational service and mentorship. So not only are you mentoring Matt, but you were mentored by someone else and encouraged in a certain way, and that has been trickling down. I'm trying to think of a better word for that, but that service is being paid forward and each generation is being inspired. To me, that's super powerful. Like, I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
My mentor gave me a gift, and I want to be able to give that gift to Matthew, and I hope that Matthew will give that gift to others, you know, through his experience, through his mentorship, and just from his example.
Yeah. Matt, can you share, since we're on the topic, Matt, you said something on Friday about service and public speaking, and we've been talking about contests and competition. Can you just share a little bit of your message there of how initially you were focused on the contest and what it meant to win, and now you transitioned into something new? Can you share a little bit about that speech?
It's the question. Well, before it was all about the trophy for me. First place, because I have this like ego, I wanted to win, and I knew it was about serving in my head, but like emotionally wasn't quite in my heart then. But I met this lady at the area contest and didn't know her, complete stranger to me. I was leaving the venue and she stopped me, just like hugged me randomly for 3 seconds, didn't know her, we didn't talk. But she looked up at me and she was covered in tears, and she was talking about how she had a son who also had a stutter when he was 15, and she had been trying to help him to get more confidence because he was being bullied too, like I was. And then she said that he had killed himself, and how my speech had helped her to get through that. And at the moment, I didn't really know how to even say anything back to her, because what do you say to that? It's like you can't really offer any hope. But it made me think instantly, like, these are real human beings. Because before I would get on stage, have that kind of like that glossy eye, you're kind of glancing back and forth, you're not really staring at anybody. But these are all real human beings with real lives, real stories, and we have no idea what they've really gone through. But it was that moment like, oh, this is a real person, and my story helped her in some way by providing that service to her.
And you said what you needed to say on the stage, and that was powerful. There was nothing more. So I appreciate you sharing that story, because it transitioned from the trophy to this service, and now you're the next generation of Don. You're going to be like, oh,
right,
this person helped me the same way you did. I want to go back to the coaching, though, and I know, what did Matt need help with? When you first started coaching and mentoring, what were the things you were focusing on?
I'm not necessarily sure what he needed, but what I could provide was confidence and encouragement. You know, challenging to do this, encouraging to that, be willing to step out and to, you know, listen to his speech and help him craft his speech. So just that level of support.
Matt, what was, from your experience, when Don was spending all this time with you, what were you getting out of it?
it kind of calmed me down. Before speaking was so stressful. You have your lines, memorize your lines. You have your note cards, and then the tonality, the body language. You move over here, and it was this big like theater thing for me. And from talking to Don, it was becoming like, oh, it's your heart. It's not about all these little mechanics. It's about like believing in it. And before, speaking to me was all about like some like theater. Don watched some really bad speeches I gave. It was very cringy, and it'd be like theater. It'd be like me dancing on the stage and the crazy voices, but it wasn't real. It was not from my heart. So he taught me how to be me and be real, which is hard to be on stage because you have all these strangers watching you speak for the first time.
I see this so much with new speakers, and I do it myself. You come into these Toastmaster meetings or wherever you're trying to learn to be a better leader, a better scientist or engineer, and the first thing you do is emulate the people that you are observing. And it's, well, I noticed they do this voice, so I'm going to do this voice. In fact, where we go is Dobson Ranch, and just the nature of the room and the kind of speakers we have, sometimes people speak very energetically and it sounds like they're yelling. And to an unpracticed Toastmaster, they're literally yelling at you, and it's always like, learn and integrate. So I think what you're describing is taking that skill, and it's somebody else's skill that you're kind of copying, and then eventually you emulate it and it becomes your skill and your gesture and your movement. So I really like that story, and I want to emphasize that. And that's so powerful. That I agree with you on Don too. When I met you very briefly for the first time at the division contest, and you do have this very calming energy, just like, I'm your big dad, I'm just gonna help, like just chill.
Energy.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Kind of calming, he's there. Not too much.
Yeah, Matt, do you feel like, from your perspective, your transformation has been slow or fast and overnight? From my perspective, 6 months ago, so let me tell you all about Matt's first speech.
Scared.
Matt was on the schedule. I don't think I was Toastmaster, but I was something that week. And, well, he didn't show up. Let me cut to the chase. That was Matt's first speech. So and then I was gone the next week, so I missed it because he actually showed up the next time.
Did I? I forgot.
You did, yeah. You missed it, and then you're like, I'm coming. I'm going to do this, and then you showed up. So I missed that, but I watched it online. But the reason I say that, I'm curious, how is the trend? To me, it's felt fast. How has it felt for you going from not showing up maybe 8 months ago to now winning at the division contest? Has it felt fast? I guess we're all biased,
right? I feel like it's been very slow for me personally. Because still, it's kind of scary each time still for me to go to a club or a contest. That was terrifying at some parts. The biggest thing I learned from all that, though, is staying like relaxed. Because if you get too stressed out, you'll mess up. So that was my biggest takeaway from the contest, was being able to calm down. It's not the most serious thing ever in the entire world. It's been a very long process, because before I would get up on stage and talk way too fast, like crazy fast, where people are like, what is he even saying right now? So that was problem one, and then problem two was just showing up. So it was a big journey for me to get to this point. And you guys have both watched some really bad bombs. He's watched me be on stage and like blank out, where my lines were gone completely. So we've learned a lot in the past few months.
Well, there's two things I want to share. Whenever I'm in any public speaking environment, especially in Toastmasters, when people bomb out or crash out or fail, I'm happy, because I want to see other people see that it's okay to fail in those environments. Like, you survive. And I don't mind. I don't want to go to a Toastmaster meeting and have everyone have this perfectly polished speech, which often can happen at more experienced clubs. I like people to mess up, because those are opportunities to learn. So that's number one. And number two, I really want to share my own experience observing you. I think so often we, as outsiders, we see someone, I'm like, oh, Matt, you've transformed from, in December, you didn't show up to the meeting, to now winning at the division second place. So for me, that was an overnight transformation. Now, I know you, and you work on my shout out to Matt. He's one of the editors on the podcast team, and he really helps me out a lot. But I also know you've been struggling with this for 10, 15, 20 years. And so the point I want to make to everyone out there is, on the outside, sometimes you see these overnight successes. Even this podcast, you might think, wow, this guy's doing so great. Look, he's got 100 views on this podcast, which to me is a lot. So thank you, listeners. But that took a lot of time. And we as the outsiders don't see that. And we don't see the hard work behind the scenes. We see the winning and the trophies and the transformation, what seems like overnight. But it takes time. John, I want to go back to you. What about you? I want to hear more about your mentorship relationship with your mentor, and he encouraged you to do the contest. What else? Tell us more about that.
Well, again, his name was David Hodish, was one of my primary mentors, and he just kept at me and was relentless, as I said. And one of the things that I was able to gain from his mentorship was he had a belief in me that I didn't yet have in myself, and I could believe in that belief. And that's actually one of the quotes from one of my best mentors, Les Brown. And he says, sometimes you have to believe in someone else's belief in you until your own belief kicks in. And I was able to do that with David because he could see something in me that I couldn't see in myself. I finally just relented and said, okay, I'll give it a try. And I didn't have any hope that I was going to win. And I was very much surprised when I did. And I was very, very much surprised as I was able to continue going from area to division to actually get to the district competition. I just didn't see that as possible. And kind of like where Matt was talking a little bit, where he was able to make the transition from the ego and hoping to win a ribbon or a trophy, what I was able to take away when I didn't win at district was I realized that the real value in taking part in a speech competition is the confidence and the competence that I was able to attain as a result of doing the speech again and again and again, and getting on a stage that made me a little uncomfortable, and to be able to work with and reach out to others to help me fine-tune my speech. And as a result of doing that, I am now a better, more confident speaker than I was before, and have been able to do things that in my wildest dreams I didn't imagine back when I was in Mrs. Skill's third grade class.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as you said, confidence comes from practice and competence. And sometimes people ask, how do I become a confident public speaker? Well, you just practice and you do it over and over. And Darren LaCroix, world champion of public speaking, hopefully we'll get him on the podcast again for you, Matt.
Yes.
But he says great speeches aren't written, they're rewritten. And I think that's so important. People, again, similar to your story of transformation that took 20 years, making a great speech is not just delivering it once in that one moment. It's doing it over and over and over again, and refining that skill and building that confidence. The other thing I want to talk to you both, we'll start with you, Don, is both of you have talked about transitioning from public speaking to being a performance, to moving it into a service, and speaking from the heart, integrating those skills, but speaking from the heart. Don, can you talk a little bit about what you observed in Matt, or how you coach Matt? What were the things you told him to get from, I want to win first place, to Matt? Speak from the heart. Speak from who you are. Stop trying to be all these other people.
Well, one of the things that I attempted to convey to him, and I don't know how effective I was or not, but I did mention about speaking from the heart. And for those of you who don't know it, there's a very big difference between speaking from your head and speaking from your heart. When you speak from your head, people hear you. When you speak from your heart, they hear you and they feel you. And there's a different level of connection, and it's a much deeper connection. I believe it was Maya Angelou said that, people will forget what you say, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And I think that's one of the effective parts of giving a speech from the heart, is they'll forget your words, but they're going to remember how you made them feel. And you move people, sometimes with your words, but definitely with the way that you can make them feel.
What are you feeling right now, Matt? I feel like
Like
something's
speechless
going on
now.
for you.
I mean, that's all true. Amen. For sure. It's all in the heart. It was like small things too. Like he would say this one line over and over again. It'd be like, well, say it again. Say it again. So we practiced like the intro, getting on stage, pausing, tonality, all these like small things that all came together very slowly. Because even like the intro, he would say, okay, let's rewrite this section to be this part, and then pause longer, and then make people really feel it for this line. So it was, because before it was like this like random speaking, but I think for Don, it was like an art form to me. Like speaking is like this art, it's like this canvas, and you can paint all these words from how you speak to people. It takes a lot of practice and time to get to that point of painting this picture of how to serve people.
That's beautiful, man.
Yes,
That's
it
like
is.
that's amazing. Did you just come up with that?
Yes.
Write a speech on that. It makes me think about I used to play the viola. And when you're learning to play music, my music teachers would mark up the sheets, and there's words in Italian that would say like play louder, or play softer, or play aggressive. I don't remember those words, but we would also have symbols that we would put above the music. And what you said, and I think this is, if I were to, I was about to say, if I were to give one piece of advice, I'll just say it. We'll be inflammatory. If I were to give one piece of advice to a public speaker, is in those moments of laughter or emotion or energy, pause. Let it happen. I like to say let it marinate.
Ooh.
So many people, like when you're nervous, you speak so fast, and you're like, people will still be laughing at your other joke, and you're already on to the next thing. And that's, for a new speaker, I see that so much, and I think you're learning that as a,
Yes.
and I'm so inspired too for my own speaking to think of it like that music sheet is like, you got the note, the words you're going to say, but where are you going to put the emphasis? Where are you going to put the pause? Where are you going to put this and that? And that's so cool, man.
I think adding to that is that art takes time to make. You can't just show up to speech day and then make this like beautiful piece. You have to put a lot of time into it. For the contest, I rewrote that same speech so many times. That I practiced that same speech to 8 separate clubs. I traveled around. So it takes a lot of time for this art to come out like your soul here. It takes a lot of reps and practice.
And that's just a testament to how hard he was willing to work. And when you see somebody who's willing to work that hard, I think it's natural for people to want to jump on board and be able to assist in whatever way they can. And I'm grateful to see that so many people did come on board and was able to introduce you to some people, and you found some people on your own. And what a great story. Just, a person who's determined, not going to let, anything come in his way to be able to achieve the goal that he wants to achieve.
Yeah. And I really want to encourage people who are still in their moments of not feeling comfortable to come out. It does take time, and excellence attracts excellence. I think that's why I wanted you on the podcast, because I saw this progression in public speaking, but you also stepped up to be an officer and just started doing things. And I was like, I wonder if this guy wants to join my podcast. And then you just started doing things on the podcast, and it's just so exciting. But I want to encourage people, even if you're not quite there yet, believe in other people's belief in you.
Yes.
I want to believe in other people's belief in me. I want to live in that world too.
It's one of the greatest gifts that you can give someone, is to believe in them and help them to see their own greatness.
Wow. That's it.
Mic drop. Drop these things now.
See what I'm talking about? Don's the guy.
Yeah, I feel it.
You can feel it. When he's like talking to you, you feel it in your heart. So
okay, Matt, I think I asked you this already, but I'm gonna ask you to give advice to our listeners. So if you could speak to young Matt and tell him how to get out of his head, how to get out of his stressed out public speaking world and move into where you are now, what would you say?
First, it's not about you. You're speaking. I think it's about like your nerve. It's not about all that. It's about what you're giving to the audience. But also, you have to be willing to look stupid on stage. I have bombed a lot of times, and before it was about me being safe, having all these walls. I would stay protected. But if you're going to be a great at any craft, or still you have to fail a ton of times. And so I would tell young Matt, don't stop stuttering. You have to keep on stuttering to become a great speaker. And so don't hide. Get out there and fail just over and over again.
Agreed. Don, how does it just feel to be in this environment and to see Matt's transformation, to feel a part of that, to know that, I don't know, what does that feel like for you, just just being in this moment?
Well, I was quite honestly very surprised when we're at the district competition, and as he's being interviewed after he gave his speech, that he mentioned that I had been a significant part of his speech development. And I was blown away. I didn't realize that I had that impact. I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to work with him, and I didn't think much more about that, and to the degree that I evidently had impact on him. And I think that's what I would want to say to your listeners, is that we never know the impact that we can have on somebody. And I think it starts with somebody, and I'm not going to be the right kind of mentor for every kind of speaker. I have a certain niche that I think I can be most effective with, and those are the kind of people that I reach out to, and I think they feel more comfortable with me. And so if there's somebody out there that you see that you can believe in, help them believe in themselves, because it's truly one of the greatest gifts that you can give another human being. Allow them to achieve their potential because you believed in them.
I want to say something. Matt didn't just mention you. He said, Don, I love you. You're being very modest here.
Well, because if there was no Don, there'd be no contest. It was because of him that I joined the contest in the first place.
If there had been a contest, you just wouldn't have been in.
Yeah, and
Okay,
we wouldn't have
that's
heard
true.
that story.
That
and,
is true.
And that mom wouldn't have had that moment of whatever that was for her. So it was life-changing for a lot of people, yourself included.
And since you brought that up, that's actually one of the things that I'm really looking forward to as Matt continues to go forward in his speaking career, and whatever direction he chooses to take it. He's going to be an inspiration. And you can't help but not be an inspiration. And whatever it is that you choose to speak on, there are going to be people out there who stutter or who have verbal dyslexia like I did, who are going to be able to see it. And one of the things that I encourage you to do, and it's one of the things that I've been able to do, I love to share my story, what it was like before. People see me now and they see me a more confident person. They say, gosh, I could never be the kind of speaker that you are. And I said, well, yes, you could. If you saw me back then, you would be surprised, because it took a while before I got where I am. And the message is basically, if I can do it, you can do it.
Is there any message, as we are starting to get to the rapid fire questions, not the end, but the rapid fire, is there any message you want Matt to know, Matt to carry forward as he continues? Obviously, you guys will continue to work together, but
I would just say I am very proud of you.
Thank you.
And I think that's something that men in particular, I think we need to have that somebody feels proud of what we're doing. And I'm very proud of him to see what he has been able to do and what he's continuing to do. And again, just imagining the impact he's going to have in the world. I can't even imagine what all impact he will. I just know that he will.
Thank you.
Matt, what do you want Don to know? I know you guys will leave this room and continue to hang out with each other and work together.
That he's changed my life, because it involves everything. Like being on this podcast, there's no way last year I would not have said yes to this. So Don has helped me from speaking. When we first met, I was not talking to Don at all. We did not talk. So he's helped me so much being confident with the stage, with speaking, me personally. So you don't realize how you can change one person's life from just your small actions. I would tell Don that.
If I could, I'd love to add a little bit of a story. And this was a growth opportunity for me as well. Back in about 2010, I believe it was, right as I was beginning Toastmasters, or just before, I had a friend who had a podcast, and she wanted me to become her last speaker because she was going to close it down. I still had a lack of confidence in myself, and when she asked me if I would be her last guest, the voice I heard inside my head was this. She says, she doesn't know who you are. You can't do that. And I was very surprised that that inner critic of mine could be so vocal, could be so loud, so debilitating. And one of the things that doing personal development work, doing work in Toastmasters, I've been able to gain a confidence that I never had before. And then that's possible for everyone. And I encourage people to take part in Toastmasters, encourage people to take part in personal development, to grow and develop your potential, because we all, according to Les Brown, we all have greatness within us.
Yes. And I want to emphasize a couple of things. Both of you said, we're talking a lot about public speaking and confidence, but Matt, you said it earlier. When you start to develop confidence in one arena of your life, it starts spilling over in
Yes.
all these other things. It's like, I bet, the first time you failed at a speech, or you, what do you say, you crashed? What's the kid saying?
Bombed it.
Bombed it.
Don't say
Bombed
bombed
it.
it.
Crashed
Yes.
out. Crashed out.
No,
No,
we don't
that's
say
old.
that.
We don't say
We don't
crash.
say that
Okay.
anymore. It's
When
bombed.
you bombed it, it's hard to keep up. How did that feel versus now when you make a mistake or crash out?
I think I've shifted who I am, Because before it was, well, you are this kind of person. You're a bad speaker. You can't get up there and speak. Your face is all red. I can barely breathe right now. To now, if I mess up, it's like, well, it happens. It's not me. It's more of like I had like a bad day. I was tired, but it's not me now. It's more of like we can like improve this for next time. It's not tied to who I am as like a speaker now anymore.
So important. It's disconnecting your identity from what you do, and that's truth. The truth is, I am not a good public speaker. I am not a bad public speaker. I'm a speaker,
Right.
and I forgot my words, or it's that pause and that separation. And so many people put so many things together. I am this, I am that. It's like, no, you just are, and you practice public speaking or whatever.
Exactly.
Dawn, last question for you. As a mentor working with Matt, has he taught you anything?
Yes, I would say he has in an indirect way. Last night I had the opportunity to have a conversation with my latest mentee in Maverick, and I just had a different level of conversation with her and encouraging her, and put into some of the basics, not quite as much as I did with Matt, but in the beginning stages to kind of build her confidence. That the goals that she's going after, that she can go ahead and achieve, and that Toastmasters is one of the important ways that we can get the goals that we want, that we develop our confidence, our competence, and then those goals be a lot easier to achieve.
I love hearing the multiplying effect that you're having. It's like, Matt, you're out. New one in. No, I'm kidding.
There's a new one in town now.
For both of you, before I jump, Dawn, I've got some rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
But before I jump to that, any last words, anything you want to share that's on your mind that came up?
You can do it. It sounds really cliche, but that first speech that I bombed out and didn't go to, I was feeling it. Like I could not breathe. I thought, I can't get up on stage. Like, I could not breathe. There's no way I can get on stage right now. And so it was controlling my entire life. That's why I joined, because I could not speak. It was so scary to me, because I thought for college, half my classes, I bombed those speeches so bad. But I'm here. And so my point is, you have to keep on trying, because you have no idea what's possible. Just keep on trying that one more time, and at some point it'll click. I'm not sure when, but there's a moment where you're like, okay, I can do this.
You know what you just reminded me of? I remember why I wanted to help you. You annoyed me when you didn't show up to that meeting. But then after, you sent this really long email to everyone.
That's embarrassing.
And that's what changed.
It was a very personal email too.
It was like you laid it all out there. I'm gonna find that email printed and frame it and put it in my office.
It was like bad. It was like I was like anxiety. Sorry guys.
I mean, you were. It wasn't BS. It was, especially now looking back 6 months. It was you, and you were being honest. In that moment, I was like you said earlier, you don't know what's going on for other people, and someone may not show up, and it may be. We often think, oh, they didn't show up. They don't care. They're careless. They're not organized. Whatever. But it was so much more. And so that email is why you're here, because I was like, I want to, like I said, I like going to Toastmasters meetings where people screw up, because I want everyone to see, it's okay. It's not a big deal. They're surviving. I mess up too. In fact, I bombed. Bombed
You did not bomb a speech ever. Right?
No. At Table Topics this Friday, I was really excited, and I could not think of anything. And I was like staring at the audience, and then I did something. But it happens, and I like when it happens, because I want people to know it's fine. The audience cares. In fact, when you mess up, the audience feels even more connected with you, because they're like, I've been there. I've done that. So anyway, thank you, Matt. I remember that letter. I'm going to print it out now, because it's even more meaningful now than it was 6 months ago or whenever you sent it. Don, what about you? Any last words before we go to our rapid fire?
Well, one of the things I'd say that I gained second to the contest, where I gained so much confidence and competence as a speaker, was taking part in Table Topics. Be able to face that fear. And back when I was a part of Unity Speakers, I wanted to actually have a club that was nothing but Table Topics. I thought that'd be a great thing. I didn't think it was possible. But one of the things that I did, and I encourage people to do it, is after the meeting, I would gather people and we would just do little pretend Table Topics. topics where there'd be 3 or 4 people and say, here's your question, go. And be able to actually practice that. And one of the things that I did in practice for my speaking is I would just be walking around the house and I would think of a topic and I would actually talk to myself about whatever that topic. So even though you don't normally practice for table topics, I found that was a way that you could do. And you really grow confidence when you're able to be more confident as a table topic speaker.
Let's jump into our rapid fire question. Don, what book, article, or podcast has inspired you recently?
One of the things that's not really recent, but I was trying to think of something that would be connected to Toastmasters. And there's a young woman, she inspired me greatly. Her name is Jessica Cox. Some of our Toastmaster listeners will know who that is. For those who don't, she is a woman from Tucson who was born without arms. And even though you might look at her and think that all of the disabled things that she couldn't do because she's disabled, she has done things that more than most of us will ever even consider doing. She surfs, she scuba dives, she's a black belt in Taekwondo, she plays the piano with her feet, puts in contact lenses with her toes. But her greatest accomplishment is that she was the first armless person in aviation history to earn a pilot's license. And she was just a person that just never was willing to say, I can't. And I had the opportunity to meet her, and she's just an amazing person. She's inspired me so much. She's a speaker now herself, and if you go on YouTube, she did a TED Talk in Tel Aviv, and it's an amazing story of her story. And I encourage people to check her out, because when you look at somebody like that, or look at somebody like Matt, it's really a lot harder to have the same relationship with that word, I can't.
Don, what's your biggest public speaking pet peeve?
Well, I don't want to call it a pet peeve, but I look for speakers who speak from the heart. Those are the kind of speeches that I want to hear and feel. So I wouldn't say it's a pet peeve, but I just appreciate somebody when they speak from their heart. It's something that anybody can learn. It was something I learned many years ago, back before I was in Toastmasters. I was part of a group where I had to speak, and I just had so little confidence. And I discovered that when I would speak from my heart, I had perfect recall. It's only when it goes through your consciousness and your inner critic that I would get stuck. I would have the verbal dyslexia. And so when I would speak from my heart, not only was I going to better connect with my audience, I was going to have a better flow to what it is that I wanted to say. So I just encourage people to learn how to speak from your heart.
Don, how do you like to collaborate? Do you like emails, Teams, in-persons, text messages?
I'm not sure what we're talking about there as far as collaboration, but if I'm going to collaborate, it's either in person or over the phone is going to be my best way.
All right. What was your last major public speaking gig, and what did you learn from it?
Oh, I am very proud to talk about this. I've been a JFK assassination buff since I was 10 years old.
Not a conspiracy theorist, a buff.
A buff.
Okay.
To learn more about what took place. And on the 60th anniversary, which would have been 2023, I was given the honor to be the MC at that event in Daley Plaza on the date of the assassination. And so for those of us who are in the JFK assassination community, that was the highest honor you could have, especially with the entire world looking in and remembering what took place on that day back in 1963.
Is it recorded?
Unfortunately, no.
Oh, that'd be so cool to watch. Last one. What's one piece of advice you'd give to a new public speaker?
Is that for me or for Matthew?
Both of you.
Be around great people, because like around Don, I was like, this is possible to do. Find some club, some Toastmasters group, your college class, find some great speakers, and then don't copy them, but find what you like in their style. Because then if they can do it, then you can do it too.
I would say get clear what it is that you want to accomplish as a result of Toastmasters. And I know that when I first came in, all I wanted to do was be able to do a best man's toast without messing it up. And it was because of the mentors that I had that saw something in me that I didn't see for myself that I went beyond the 30 days that I thought I would stay in Toastmasters. And, I just had good people around me, people who would encourage me and mentor me. And, it was, I think it was 2019 that I got my Distinguished Toastmaster Award. And it's all because of my mentors. I didn't have that as a goal. It was them having the goal for me that allowed me to see the value in doing it and then do what I had to do to achieve it.
Love it. And that's a perfect way to close out. But I want to emphasize one thing you said earlier, and that was how you said you were proud of Matt, and also Matt sharing your emotional story in front of people. And when we were at the division contest, there were a couple men speakers, and all of their speeches had a ton of emotion, and all of them got emotional. And that's the world I want to live in. I think in today's day, there's this tendency towards masculinity and not sharing emotion. I think it caused a lot of problems. So I want to put this out into the world, us being proud of each other, being emotional, showing our scars, but also healing, because I think that's really important. So I wanted to emphasize that because I thought of that while you were mentioning, when you guys were talking, and I wanted to bring that up. Anyway, Don, if people want to reach out to you, get to know more about you and your story, where can they connect with you?
Maverick Toastmasters on Tuesday night.
Maverick
like that double
Toastmasters. Throwing in the plug. Well, again, thank you all. This was exactly the conversation I wanted to have. It is exactly why I wanted to have it. I want you, Matt, to have this video, both of you, for this future, and maybe we'll bring your mentor in and have another podcast. So, yeah, next year when you win. Not that it's all about the trophy, but thank you all. I really appreciate it. And thank you all listeners for tuning in. If you want to hear more, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, we encourage you to speak Arizona.
Thank you.
Thanks for saying that with me.